Hello and welcome back to the Stronghold. I'm the Magi, and today I wanted to talk about one of the new trending crazes on Arena for content creators, and that is what's commonly known as Nate's Bat Heist. I've seen a ton of people doing this, and I thought it was high time I got in on the action as well. Now, in case you haven't caught wind of this craze just yet, the idea is very simple. You start off with a deck that contains 4 copies of Deep-Cavern Bats and 56 basic swamps, and that's it. The idea is it's a deck building exercise, so any card that you successfully exile using Deep-Cavern Bat's ETB ability, you can then add that to the next iteration of your deck. So in essence, you're kind of stealing cards and creating a deck as you go. And I thought it was really interesting. I've watched a number of content creators do this, and well, sadly what I've noticed is a lot of sameness. Most of these content creators are doing the thing in a standard environment, so you see a lot of the same cards because, of course, you're facing a lot of the same decks. And most of the time, the deck that you end up building in this tends to be the same sort of deck, oftentimes using the very same cards. There's just very little variation here to what I think is actually a really cool concept. Beyond that, a number of content creators are posting it as a challenge, as a speed run sort of event. How long does it take you to build a deck that you can eventually win a game with? And I think that's a really cool aspect of the thing too. I have a spin on this that I think solves kind of the short-term issues of sameness, as well as maybe has some long-term potential as an arena event. But before we get into all that, take just a moment to like, comment, and subscribe, because that kind of thing really keeps this boat moving. Now, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, right. Now, having watched some of this and played around with it a little bit, I think the answer here is, well, Sparky. I think that makes an interesting opponent, an AI that already exists within the game, and would allow that to expand the training possibilities of the AI, lovingly known as Sparky. It would teach new players about deck building and card evaluation, and it could be on demand. Really, a person could play this anytime that they wanted to. We could probably even put in place some sort of reward structure for beating it, although obviously we wouldn't want the rewards to be too great, because then people would farm that instead of farming ranked or playing limited or something like that. But we could definitely incentivize it towards the newer end of the spectrum and keep it fairly relevant as well. Introducing Sparky would also introduce cards that a lot of people play with maybe as little as just the first couple days on Arena, and then never think about again. This would eliminate a lot of the issues that I've encountered with sameness, where you're really just playing the best cards in Standard in a different form. And well, we all know one of Standard's biggest problems is it can become very dull very quickly, and this kind of puts a patch on that. It also solves the problem for newer budget or free-to-play players, in that you might have the opportunity to steal a card but don't actually own it, so you didn't really expand your deck heist library at all. Everybody has access to all the cards that are in Sparky's library of decks, so you'd never have to worry about taking a card that you wouldn't potentially get some benefit from. But you know what? Enough of talking about a potential format. Why don't we take this concept for a spin against Sparky, see exactly what it does through the value and magic of editing. I'm going to be going through and speeding up a lot of the footage just to respect your own time, And let's see how well this actually plays out, if it's a really interesting and potentially entertaining concept, and then we'll go from there. Alright, up against the mono red. So definitely some good opportunities here to maybe pick up some removal, things like that. Let's see what our first bat gives us. I mean, I think I like Shock here, and that feels pretty good. Goblin Gang Leader probably wouldn't be terrible either, but it is double red to start off. So not super fantastic there. Alright, let's see what we have with our bat for the mono blue deck. I think Warden is kind of what we have to go with here. I mean, Scry 2 isn't terrible. And, an invasive flyer. So we are up against the blue deck again. Let's see what we can heist out this time. Winged Words is probably the thing to go here if we end up with any kind of blue flyers deck. Alright, we finally faced the black deck, so we can probably pick up a card here we can actually use. I mean, I guess that Worker is the way to go there. Ooh, a second bat, you say? I like that. What do we take this time around? I mean, I kind of want a body, but I really hate both of them, so I'll go with unlikely 8 here. Nice, a third bat. Let's see what maybe we can take here. Another unlikely aid. And we are dead on board. Alright, facing the red deck again, let's see what we can heist out. Honestly, I don't love any of this, but I guess we take... Well, I guess Heirloom Minotaur would be a better blocker. So we can go with that. Alright, up against blue again. Let's see what we can heist out. Another ward. Alright, up against green now. I guess we'll go with card draw. Red deck again. I think I want the Nest Robber. Alright, back against the mono black deck. So that the way we can pick up a good card here. Or perhaps not. This will take the archer. The second bat for the game. I guess we take unlikely a compound fracture just isn't going to be good unless we get a ton of them. And I really hope we don't do that. And there we go, guys. 21 minutes, 8 seconds to finish off Sparky doing the Bat Challenge. So yes, I think adding something like this as an on-demand way to play against Sparky would be a very valuable resource for those new players, maybe people returning back to the game. They're still trying to learn Arena, whatever the case may be. And at the same time, teach those fundamentals of card evaluation as well as deck building. We can use the existing architecture of Sparky for the most part. There's really not a lot that would need to be added to make this viable. They would just basically create a deck for you and a sub-collection. I don't think it would be all that difficult as I sit here as a non-programmer for the most part. But I think it's viable. I think it could be very interesting, and I think people would enjoy playing it, and a lot of those, again, newer players, returning players, etc., could learn a lot from this. So there it is, guys. Just 9 games, 20 minutes, 8 seconds for my personal first ever run of Sparky's Bat Heist. Now, this was the final iteration of the deck that I did ultimately beat Sparky with, and as you can see here, it really doesn't take very much. It does a good job of teaching particularly newer players, new deck builders, about evaluating cards, a finite number of cards, as a matter of fact, in a vacuum, and determining what is best for their deck's individual needs. Of course, the MVP, as you saw, was Savage Gorger here. A very mundane, I believe, common card, if memory serves. But it was just powerful enough to create a landslide, as you saw, and pave a path to victory. A card that, outside of Limited, might very well be overlooked, and all it took was 1 copy here. One potential shortcoming of this proposed concept is Deep-Cavern Bat within this card pool is actually a pretty powerful card in its own right. The fact that it is a 2 mana, if they are doing something to rig it to always make sure you had 1 copy of this in your opening hand, or even if players are just mulliganing to that, having a 1/1 flying lifelinker in your opening hand, guaranteed that you can essentially always play on turn 2, is a pretty strong advantage against a very low tier player like Sparky. So there are definitely some opportunities that would need to be ironed out. But all in all, I think this is a really good exercise for free-to-play players and would be really great for new players, again, to learn the basic concepts of deck building and card evaluation. And if Wizards really wanted to get fancy and invest a little more intricate programming, real time in the game, as you exile something with Deep-Cavern Bat, it could ask, do you want to add this card to your deck? And if you say yes, it could drop you back into your deck building screen, allow you to make adjustments real time to your deck, and then once you're satisfied, jump back into the game with an improved version of your deck right there. Maybe help you get those times a little bit faster, or maybe that's something that could unlock over time. Beyond the educational implications of something like this, I think it would be possible to come up with some sort of reward structure for it as well. That would keep it interesting even for established players. For instance, the very first time you beat this, maybe you win something like the Adventurers bundle, but without the gem value. Maybe you just get an exclusive avatar and sleeve that you can only get by having played and won this event. Of course, I don't think $15 worth of gems is the correct answer here. I think that would have a lot of damaging implications for the economy. But you could add in some additional rewards here, like maybe a playset of something like Terramorphic Expanse that would now always be available to you as part of your deck building any additional times that you did this. That first time you won would also establish a baseline speed run value, if you would. And then any other time that you beat your personal best, you could get an additional reward. I mentioned something like Terramorphic Expanses that would also always be available to you in future runs. You could do the same thing with the Black X Common Gain lands. Just adding those 20 cards, or 16 cards, and always having those available for future runs would allow players to progress and get faster times on this over time. You could also do something like adding an additional copy of Bat to your collection. So maybe moving forward, you start with 5 Bats instead of 4. Or maybe the correct answer is when you actually start this as a dedicated format, your baseline deck would be something like 40 Bats and 20 Swamps. I don't know. That's something that would have to be worked out. But there's so many different things that you could unlock as your times get faster and faster. Maybe there's actually breakpoints where new things get added into the prize pool. You could do quick draft tokens. You could do sealed tokens, because, I mean, let's face it, they're always looking for new ways to encourage people to play sealed. And what better way than to let someone earn that once in a while as a freebie? This would also be a very interesting way to distribute not only those exclusive cosmetics that I talked about earlier, but maybe some of those older sought-after cosmetics could be attainable through here on some sort of random basis. Obviously, you could give away gold, some gems. You could give away the occasional pack and things like that. ICRs are a very easy answer. And maybe some of those go away and they're not on the list anymore as potential prizes once you have gotten them, whereas other things, maybe it never comes off the list. You can do that as many times as you want because you're always having to beat your personal best. And unless you were like intentionally farming the thing, it would be pretty tough to just mechanically keep doing that, say, only shaving a minute off each and every time. And frankly, if someone wants to do that, to farm some cosmetics or the occasional ICR, why not? Let them do it. Let people have fun playing Arena the way they want to. I don't think even that extreme case would in any way be damaging to the arena economy.
And hey, Wizards, if you're out there, if you see this and are interested, for my part, I say go ahead and use it. All I would really ask, at least from my perspective, is maybe some sort of creative footnote for Nate and possibly myself. And maybe some content creator access to the game system. Beyond that, I think this could be a very valuable addition. So, reach out, guys. And before we go, I want to take just a moment to thank my totally awesome patrons for supporting me and allowing me to apply my passion into a community. And of course, before we go, I've got some suggestions for your next step.